There are no dress rehearsals or do-overs. Today and every day is the beginning of your life, and it's up to you to live the shit out of it. All you have to do is tap into that hunger. Believe, even for a moment, that you have the power to create what you want and take some action. That's where I and this book come in, being your guiding strobe light in your most outstanding, kick-ass life. You're listening to Make Some Noise Podcast, episode number 389. Welcome to Make Some Noise Podcast, your guide for strategies, tools, and insight to empower yourself. I'm your host, Andrea Owen, global speaker, entrepreneur, life coach since 2007, and author of 3 books that have been translated into 18 languages and are available in 22 countries. Each week, I'll bring you a guest or a lesson that will help you maximize unshakable confidence, master resilience, and make some noise in your life. You ready? Let's go. Hi, everyone. I feel a little bit nervous as I hit record for this episode, and it's only because I'm super excited. I have a little bit of palm sweatiness and elevated heart rate, and I'm pumped because it's the cover reveal. It's my 3rd book, Baby's, coming out August 31st, 2021, and today we are revealing the cover and the title of the book. And the title of the book, you're going to be so surprised. The title of the book is Make Some Noise. Speak your mind and own your strength. Insert massive applause. I know some of you guessed it because you saw it in the background in one of my Instagram stories, or you guessed it because it's the name of the podcast. And I'm really, really excited for you to read this book. In complete truth and transparency, the original title of this book was called Raise Hell. And the publisher was like, maybe let's not have a curse word in this book. Maybe try one book without a curse word. No, they didn't say that. But it was part of the suggestion. And we made a long list. We brainstormed with my editor and the marketing team, and I made them a long list of possible titles. Make Some Noise was on there, and they all loved it, and I loved it too. So she is being born. It is being born. They say not to personify your work because we hold it too close to our hearts, but it's really hard not to do when it is a labor of love, and I can't wait for you to read it. I'm going to read to you an excerpt from the introduction, as well as a poem that I wrote as I was writing this book, and it is in the book, as well as the manifesto that I wrote that is the table of contents. It's the table of contents, as well as a very, very short explanation of what that means. And you can actually download the manifesto right now. And also, more importantly, Make Some Noise is available for pre-order, both on audiobook and hard copy, and probably ebook as well. You can go to andreaowen.com/noise. That is where all the options for pre-ordering, or you could just jump on over to Amazon if you want to just make it easier on yourself. However, when you go to andreaowen.com/noise, that's where you're going to see how to grab your bonuses. There's a lot of bonuses. First, like I said, there's the manifesto you can download. One thing I'm really excited for you to have your hands on is the workbook. The workbook is about 40 some odd pages, and it's beautiful. And I ask over 250 questions in this book. So it's loaded. It is me coaching you, getting curious with you as if you were here with me, being coached by me. And I always want you to be able to not just read about it and skim through those questions, but actually ask yourself these. If we want to have real change, then we need to do that kind of work. So the workbook, it's not available right away because it's not going to make any sense to you right now because the book isn't out yet, depending on when you're listening to this. If it's after August 31st, 2021, you can go get the workbook. It's there. AndreaOwen.com/noise is going to tell you where to go to pre-order, as well as grab your bonuses. We're also going to do some really fun giveaways, prizes for sharing, gift cards, really cool products, a free coaching session with me, my other book signed. Oh, and also you can get a book plate. There's so many bonuses. I had these really cool stickers made that are make some noise. They say make some noise on them. And I am going to autograph them and put your name on it if you want one. And it's while supplies last, and I will snail mail it to you. So that form it's all there. AndreaOwen.com/noise. Get your sticker to put on your book, on the inside of your book, wherever you want. Put on your face if you want. Get your manifesto, get your workbook, and buy the book. It makes such a huge difference to authors when you pre-order. And I just appreciate you being here. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. I appreciate you being excited with me for this book. And I appreciate you buying it. All right. One more thing before I jump into reading you an excerpt from the introduction is that if you head over to Instagram, I'm at Hey Andrea Owen over there. We're doing a book giveaway today to celebrate the cover reveal. Although this book isn't out, I am going to be giving away copies of How to Stop Feeling Like Shit, as well as 52 Ways to Live a Kick-Ass Life, personalized signed copies for me to you. And head on over there. You'll see one of my latest posts on Instagram that will talk about that giveaway. And yeah, it's just a way to celebrate. I am going to give away books of Make Some Noise, but we can't yet because I don't have it in my hands. But it's coming. It's coming soon, August 31st. All right, so here is an excerpt from the introduction. It's not the very beginning. Yeah, it's an excerpt. Okay, so here we go. Ooh, I'm nervous. I'm nervous for you to hear this. Okay, ready? Changing your life has its challenges. Aside from it being work, we as women have been socialized to not make too much noise, to put everyone else before us, and to make everyone else comfortable. All of this at the expense of our own values, desires, and dreams. Many times we don't even consciously realize this is happening, but unconsciously we know. It manifests as resentment, poor boundary setting, lashing out, negative self-talk, unnecessary apologizing, people-pleasing, and approval-seeking. And that feels like shit. In 2018, my second book, How to Stop Feeling Like Shit, came out, in which I chronicled the behaviors I just mentioned, which are very common behaviors for the thousands of women I've worked with over the last 14 years, plus my own. We spend endless amounts of energy trying to contort ourselves into what we think people want and expect of us. Don't make others too uncomfortable, don't rock any boats, and never, ever make a scene. We follow these rules because we don't want to be rejected. We want to fit in, be liked and approved of. We do these things because it's what we know, and it's become, in a strange, twisted way, what's comfortable. But more important, we do these things because we live in a culture that tells women that no matter what, we are not good enough. In working with many women who all want a better life, here's what I know to be true. For women, moving away from behaviors that don't work for us anymore, letting go of core beliefs that convince us we're broken and not enough, laying a stake in the ground around our desires is an act of making noise. I'm so fucking tired of women thinking there is something wrong with them for not having the confidence they need to go after what they want. I'm so fucking tired of women being afraid to use their voice to speak up in a meeting or when someone has harmed them. And I'm so fucking tired of shouting, girl power, and telling women they can be and do anything they want to. When the truth is, if we want to find our true north and live our best life, we have to simultaneously work on bettering ourselves and push back on the culture that created the problem in the first place. These are not two completely separate conversations. We must do this in order to help create change for ourselves as well as for generations to come. For all the women who've been judged for their cleavage, clothing choices, or loud voices. For women who have been gossiped about for their choices of sexual partners, whether the gossip was true or not, and made to feel ashamed or even less than human. For the women who got passed up for promotions, who never made it to the control center for the first moon landing. For you, if you've ever felt like your life was an uphill battle, if you've been dismissed, harassed, abused, or dehumanized, There's nothing else to say about it except that it's unacceptable. This book is part rally cry and call to arms, part how to break out of what most of us have been taught as truth. I promise that you'll see yourself in these chapters, glimpses of your life that perhaps you thought no one knew about. I've been watching you. Because may I remind you that this is it. There are no dress rehearsals or do-overs. Today and every day is the beginning of your life, and it's up to you to live the shit out of it. All you have to do is tap into that hunger. Believe, even for a moment, that you have the power to create what you want and take some action. That's where I and this book come in, being your guiding strobe light in your most outstanding, kick-ass life. Okay, here is the manifesto, like I said, that you can download right now. And it's titled, Who is a Woman Who Makes Some Noise? She shines too bright, rejecting the fear of outshining others. She asks for and accepts help. She knows success and fulfillment don't happen in a vacuum, but instead with the support of others. She never waits for confidence. She learns what it takes action, and practices it. She takes up some damn space with her voice, her emotions, and her body. She asks for everything she wants, instead of worrying others will think negatively of her for doing it. She accepts challenges as life invitations. Instead of backing down or not getting back up, she feels what she needs to feel, gets up, and accepts the invitation to show up again. She is present for her life instead of checking out. She notices when she's numbing out, gets curious, and finds out what she needs the most in that moment. She doesn't complain if she plans on doing nothing about it. She feels her feelings, assesses what's worth it, and takes action. She rejects cultural norms that try to keep her small, saying no to things that attempt to put her in a box. She becomes the boss of her money and finances, never putting all the responsibility on someone else when it comes to her money. She doesn't stay stuck in blaming others. Instead, she holds people accountable, including herself. She listens for and trusts her built-in wisdom. She learns to trust herself and knows her gut instincts are rooting for her highest self. She builds superior stories that serve her. She's aware when she's making up stories and has negative self-talk. She doesn't make her pleasure optional. She gets clear on what brings her satisfaction, embraces it, and makes time for it. She rides it out and practices resilience. Sometimes life is the worst, but she was made for all of its twists, turns, and street fights. She is strong, mighty, and resilient. So one of the titles that I was on like the top of my list for this book was called Burn It Down. I make no apologies for being aggressive. And the reason that I wanted to name it that is because the gist of this book is unlearning what we've been taught and how we've been conditioned to be and think and believe. And we, in a sense, have to burn it down and relearn while simultaneously living in this culture and, you know, all the things that go with it. So anyway, that book title has already been taken. I am blanking on the author right now, but it's a book of essays from women. And I did read a little bit of that book and it was really great. So fantastic title, but I couldn't have it. But I did write a poem called Burn It Down, and that's what I'm going to read to you right now. She had fire in her belly, and she used it to summon her truth. She had fire in her soul, and she used it to remember where she came from. She had fire in her heart, and she used it to trust the women who came before her. She had fire in her spirit, and she used it to show other women their own flames. She had fire in her eyes, and she used it to burn it all down. She had fire in her every being, and she used it to blaze a new path, a new way, a new life. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm feeling a little emotional now as I've revealed all of this to you and read the poem and read the manifesto to you and part of the introduction. I also wanted to mention that part of the bonuses is a book club that I am leading. Some of you might have been through the one we did 3 years ago. Time flies. For How to Stop Feeling Like Shit. And it's going to be very similar. It is a month-long Facebook group, and I'm going to be leading it. I can't wait. I can't wait to walk with you through this book. It doesn't start until the end of September because I wanted to give people a chance to have the book shipped to you and either listen to it on audiobook or read it. And it's going to be, casual. It's some pretty big topics, but I am just honored to be able to take you through this book and answer any questions that you have that are unique to your life. I can't promise, cross my heart and hope to die that I can get to every single question, but most likely I will, especially if it's a common question. I'm going to be doing some Facebook Live videos in there that you can always see, if you miss them at a later date. So AndreaOwen.com/noise is where you can find all of that. And if you pre-order the book and then go and download the manifesto right now, you're automatically on the email list where you're going to hear about all these things coming up, because most of these things don't start until the book comes out late August. And also you'll be hearing about it on the podcast as well. I have something that I would also love for you to participate in. More details are going to come pretty soon, but I'm doing some really fun things on the podcast for this book coming out. One of them is I'm having a special series, a particular group of women, and we're talking about how they made noise in their lives as these topics pertain to chapters in the book, how they are shining brightly in their life, how they are listening to their inner wisdom, how they are taking up some damn space and not waiting for confidence, but taking action anyway, etc. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear your stories. Again, more details to come. It's going to be somewhat specific on what we're looking for, and it's going to be voicemail. So you're going to gather your thoughts, leave us a message, and with your permission, we are going to play them on the podcast. I haven't heard any of them yet, but I'm sure I'm going to have things to say about your stories, mostly cheering you on and things like that, and encouraging you. But I want to hear from the listeners. I want to hear from you, whether you are a new listener or whether you've been listening since 2013. I so appreciate you, and you make what I do for a living so amazing. And I can't wait to hear your stories and how you are making noise in your life. And I can't wait for you to read this book. I'm so incredibly proud of it. It has been brewing for several years, probably since 2016, especially through the Me Too movement. And yeah, I got a download in 2019 where I was like, this is it. This is what this book is going to be. So stay tuned, AndreaOwen.com/noise to grab your pre-ordered copy. Come say hi on Instagram. Hey, Andrea Owen over there to enter to win a signed copy of one of my other books. And remember, everyone, it's our life's journey to make ourselves better humans and our life's responsibility to make the world a better place. Bye for now.